All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, October 28th. We've got a 5-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within each game as we break it down as well. But as always, guys, make sure to keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That's where you'll find all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If you do want to jump on board and ride with me, or if you do want to fade me, all of that is going to be absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride with me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of how we did yesterday, a 1-3 night. I'm telling you, this NBA season is like good night, bad night, good night, bad night, which hopefully we follow that trend, meaning tonight is going to be a good night. A 1-3 night. Celtics money line at +110 comes through for us. We took that before Zion was even ruled out, so talk about some value there. The Hawks and Bulls, that's the only other one that I sit there and I was like, that had a chance. Now, you look at the final score, you're like, no, that under had no chance. But realistically, if you're watching that game, it did have a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. The Thunder Mavs over 225.5. Yikes. The parlay of the Spurs team total over and the Sixers team total under. The Sixers dropped like 310 points yesterday, so that wasn't exactly the best look there. Speaking of the best looks, I guess we could say this is a pretty damn good one here. The ride of the day cashes from Chris, had Klay Thompson over 11.5 points plus rebounds. Drop cha-ching. Get the vibes going in a positive direction here. Klay Thompson had 8 points and 4 rebounds. So yes, you did the math correctly. That is 12 points plus rebounds. The ride of the day cashes, and we have it updated now on the ride of the day tracker. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, it is very, very simple. All you have to do is use that hashtag ride of the day or ROTD down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day and give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. I also tweet it out. My Twitter/X will be popping up here throughout the show. But yes, you get a shout out in the next video, win or loss. If you do win, we continue to go ahead and ride with your plays, and you go on a little bit of a streak. If you lose, unfortunately, we are still shouting you out, but for a loss, you got to face the womp womp on the soundboard. So go ahead and get those ride of the days down in the comments at your own risk. Let's jump into game number 1 here, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're looking at the Wizards taking on the Sixers. Now, this is an interesting one. The Sixers team is 3-0 this year, yesterday being kind of the only one that they didn't really have to fully sweat out. And you might even be able to argue that that was still not the easiest of games. Washington 1-2 on the season. Now, I said Philly yesterday, right? They are on a back-to-back year. Last year, covering in just 40% of their back-to-backs. Joel Embiid didn't play yesterday, but obviously on a back-to-back, you got a little bit more time to determine your injuries, so he might get the go today. Ultimately, this Washington team isn't good. I'm not breaking any news to anyone out there, but I do still think that there's like a roll of the dice that this Sixers team has been playing a little bit above, you know, what you'd expect so far to start the year. The problem is 4 points. Like, I don't think that's enough to give Washington, right? So I'm going to lean towards the Sixers in this spot. Not that I think the Sixers team is all that great or anything like that, but I don't think you have to be all that great to beat Washington here, you know what I mean? And from a total perspective, 237.5 does seem awfully high, but the Sixers on a back-to-back. Maybe their defense lacks, and it's defense that already has been lacking. 116, 121, and 124 has been allowed so far. This Washington team, out of their game so far, 2 of the 3 have gone over 130. The other one, just they allowed 107 to, I think it was Dallas. So we're starting to learn that offense might not be all that great. I'm going to lean towards an over. It's an awfully high number, especially on the back-to-back, but I can't see the Sixers playing much defense. We know Washington's not going to play that much defense. Give me the over 237. Now, from a player prop perspective, I like a couple different looks in this one. Joel Embiid coming back is going to be somewhat of a concern here because I'm targeting some guys that like to shoot in the paint. Kelly Oubre is going to be the first name that I look at. Now, there's 2 reasons why I like Oubre. I just kind of mentioned it, right? I like the idea of him scoring in the paint, a spot in which, and when I say in the paint, I don't mean in the restricted area at the rim. I mean pretty much restricted area excluded rest of the paint, which is where Kelly Oubre obviously can thrive if he gets going. And you know that if he gets going, he's going to start hucking some shots. He's never seen a shot he doesn't like, right? So I do like the idea of him. But the second part is this is a Washington team that to start the season has already struggled against corner threes. And Kelly Oubre is tied for first in terms of corner threes attempted per game. I also considered his over in threes. You can get it right now, 1.5 for plus 123. He's taken a decent amount per game here. He's averaging 5 attempts. He's gone 6, 3, and 6. Even when he hit the 3 attempts, he still hit 2 of them. So that's a spot that I'm definitely considering. And I could show you guys via the NBA dashboard here that we have over on GuyBostonSports.com. We just added the injury report this, so it is super, super clean. But you can see here, Kelly Oubre. Let's refresh this bad boy so we can get the shooting. There we go. I absolutely love the refresh and the scale button. Little things in life, guys, like I keep telling you. Kelly Oubre, 54% of his shots are in the paint. Okay, that's great. Washington allowing 47.7 to their opponents in terms of field goal percentage in the paint, right? Throw it over to the threes, which Kelly Oubre is shooting a decent amount of corner threes, 40%, 45.5%. So I do like the idea of both spots that he's going to look to score from, we could see some success out of. Now, I said I have 2 player props. The other one, and again, Joel Embiid could definitely impact this, especially coming off a day's rest, but I do like VJ Edgecombe here. Now, his points line is sky high at 19.5. I get it. I get why it's up there. It makes sense. The dude has been going off 34, 15, 26 so far to start the year. But he's another guy that will try to get to the paint, right, and score in the paint. So that's definitely something that is on my radar overall. Kelly Oubre, I would say maybe I like a little bit more, but nonetheless, still on my radar. All right, guys, before we continue on, I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about DirecTV. Now, you might be thinking DirecTV, satellites, contracts, right? Wrong. We're talking about the DirecTV app in which you can stream unlimited at home, no matter how many devices, and up to 3 different devices when on the move. Meaning you can watch any game you want at any time, whether you're at home or on the go. DirecTV is a leader in the market with 57 sports channels and 35 in-market regional networks as well. Right now, with the Choice Package, you can save up to $240. Yes, $10 off for 24 months. 2 years. Experience NBA games like never before. You don't even have to leave your couch. You can be courtside at multiple different games, right? In the click of a button. NFL, same thing. Find and watch NFL games. Super simple. You can also get add-ons like NFL Red Zone. Sports fans, I'm telling you, go check out DirecTV and the DirecTV app. That link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment, or scan the QR code on your screen right now. You'll be hearing more about DirecTV and the awesomeness of it in future videos. Shout out to DirecTV. Sports fans, go take advantage. Next up, we have Miami taking on Charlotte. Miami right now 6-point favorites at home. That total all the way up at 241. Now, I've seen this bounce down to 240, but it's a pretty damn high number, and I guess it does make sense. You know, Charlotte has scored 120 plus in all 3 games that they've played, 130 in 2 of those 3. Miami, their offense has looked very good, 121, 146, and like 115 or something in their most recent game against the Knicks, in which they won it, right? So, yeah, this team, honestly, is their offense, and I think we talked about it a couple days ago, is kind of crazy how well they're playing offensively without Tyler Hero, right? And he's due back, I believe, in a couple weeks, but nonetheless, like, still very, very impressive. Now, on the other side of things, I do think that this is a Charlotte team that can score, but I don't know if they can score against, you know, decent enough defenses. Their first couple games, or out of the 3 games they've played, they went off against Brooklyn, not exactly the best defense, and Washington. We just talked about them in the last game. Not a very good defense. Philadelphia beat them. They came back and won. They still scored 121 on them, but I do think that the Heat may be the best defense by far and away that this Hornets team has seen. So I'm going to lean towards the Heat in this one. I'm hoping to kind of get the Heat in as some sort of a money line play in a parlay with some other team today. We'll see. Or maybe we look at a same game parlay in this game, because 6 points is a decent amount to give this Charlotte team right now. I'm saying that this Heat team's the best defensive team they've seen so far, but still overall, I think we're learning that this team can score. Now, it is worth noting, you know, Brandon Miller is out. That's a big loss, obviously, but Colin Sexton has kind of filled right into that 2-guard role. So LaMelo Ball, Colin Sexton, on Concanupple, and Miles Bridges have been a good 1 through 4. You know, obviously their center position gets a little dicey, and now you have Khalil Ware and Bam Adebayo going up against them, but I do think 6 points is still a lot. So I like the Heat. I'm considering them at 6. I would really like to get them in as some sort of a money line parlay. Now that total at 241, I'd like to think that I'm right, at least about the Heat being the better defense that they've played so far. Let's take a peek at either an under or a Charlotte team total under here in this spot. Now, from a player prop perspective, there's a couple different directions I could think about going here, right? You have this Charlotte team who hasn't really been all that great in terms of the perimeter, especially to, catch and shoot and pull up, so both kind of ways to score. I think Norm Powell could be a look today. Do I love the idea that his line is all the way up at 222 or 222, 22 and a half? No, that's a little high for me, but it is definitely something worth considering. And then his threes line at 2.5, that I could get behind. He hasn't hit this against Charlotte dating back to last year, but obviously that was a way different situation. I expect him to get his looks here. Again, he's already scored really, really well so far to start the season. 28, 15, 29. Maybe 22.5 for plus money isn't like all that much to ask for. But again, this could be a nice same game parlay game because the total's high. I think I have a decent enough read on it. Maybe we get a little bit crafty. Keep an eye on the final plays like I always tell you guys. Next up, we have the Thunder taking on the Kings here. Thunder are on a back-to-back. They beat Dallas last night, 101-94. Sacramento's coming off of a loss to the Lakers. They were 3.5-point favorites. They lost by 7. No LeBron, no Luka. Let's keep that in mind. The Sacramento team has not looked all that great to start the season, right? Their only win was a 1-point win over Utah. Now, the Thunder, I think we know they're a very good team. They won the championship last year. Not breaking any news to you guys, but they are 1-3 against the number so far to start this season. That's a lot different than just a year ago. You know what I mean? Last year, they covered in 63-ish% of their games, 71.2% at home, and there were a lot of big numbers they were laying. Now, Jalen Williams is out, Caruso's out, Kenrich Williams is out. Like, there's a lot of injuries that they are dealing with. Isaiah Joe's another one. So I do get that their depth and their defense may have a little bit of a hit here, but overall, this Thunder team, they're winning games. They're 4-0, but they are not looking all that great against the number. The problem here is for Sacramento, not the problem for the Thunder. Sacramento likes to run the pick and roll. Well, the Thunder are very, very good in terms of defending the pick and roll, right? You look over at what they do from a jump shooting perspective with Zach LaVine, mostly I would say, and DeMar DeRozan from the mid-range. They're a big pull-up team. Okay, well, OKC doesn't even let you take pull-ups. They're 8th best in terms of frequency to start the year. And then you also take a peek at, okay, well, where are these Kings scoring from, right? They like to shoot from the mid-range and in the paint. Well, we know OKC's a good in-the-paint defense. They are allowing more mid-range jumpers than anyone, but just a 37% field goal percentage from there. So I don't really see the easy way that the Kings put up a good number today. My only concern here is the Thunder are on a back-to-back, right? I think that they can lock this Kings team down. We have a low-scoring game. I don't know about 10.5 points in a low-scoring game, but I do think that we could pivot to a Kings team total under to some degree, right? Or maybe, are we looking for that parlay piece with the Heat? Maybe it's Thunder and Heat today. I do think it's a Thunder spot. I worry about the back-to-back, but I'm really not seeing anything that jumps off the page in terms of how the Kings can score. So I'll say the Thunder. I like the Kings team total under, maybe the full game under. I know I mentioned how I don't see how the Kings score, but I don't mind DeMar DeRozan's points. Just because, like I mentioned, the Thunder are allowing a ton of mid-range jumpers to their opponents. So maybe he'll get in there to the mid-range and chuck. If he's missing them, then sure, that's a different story. But I think he may have the volume today. So DeMar DeRozan, something that I'm considering. All right, Bucks taking on the Knicks. I'm excited to watch this one for sure. Right now, Bucks 2-point dogs at home. Total sitting at 229. From an injury perspective, we do have Cole Anthony and Kuzma questionable. Miles McBride, Deuce McBride questionable. Karl-Anthony Towns questionable. Yabusele questionable. Towns, I do think, is going to play. I would say the same thing about McBride as well. Yabusele, no clue on my end. Now, why I'm excited to watch this game is because I do think that we have two spots in which I believe this Bucks team will be able to score to some degree on this Knicks squad. Giannis obviously can take it to, I guess, this defense, right? Whether it's Huck Porty, Towns down there, if Yabusele gets the big minutes, Giannis should be able to score in the paint. Even though the Knicks haven't been all that terrible at defending the rim so far this year, I do believe Giannis will be good to go, especially in isolation. sixth, and this is the start of the year, so this is this year's data now. Sixth best score percentage, 12th best effective field goal percentage, going from the Buck side of things in isolation, going up against the Knicks, who are the sixth worst, I believe it is, in effective field goal percentage and seventh worst in score percentage. So I think Giannis may have a good game keeping this team close. Also, I think that Gary Trent, that's one of my favorite player props in this spot. The Knicks are allowing nearly 40% above the break field goal percentage to their opponents right now. Gary Trent shooting like 8 above the break threes per game, it seems like. So I think this could be a good spot for him to make 3 threes, as well as his over 11.5 points. So definitely liking that. Now, why do I think this is going to be a good game overall? Because I'm pretty high on the Knicks this year. It pains me to say as a Celtics fan, but I've said that to you guys all along, right? I do think that this Knicks team is a pretty well-comprised roster, especially as they get more and more healthy. You know, Hart's healthier, OG Anunoby's healthier, Mikal Bridges. Like, people forget that this team struggled with injuries. Even, Mitchell Robinson out right now. Like, people forget that this team struggled with injuries just a year ago. It's still a very, very good team. And I would like to think that the Mike Brown experiment has looked pretty good, right? 2-1. Their sole loss was to Miami. And we just got finished saying that this Miami offense and Miami team may be better than we anticipated. So I think that the Knicks are going to be able to score as well. I like the over in this spot. Ultimately, where I look at this Milwaukee team lacking would be in the mid-range to some degree. So how are the Knicks going to score from the mid-range? Well, I would say either Mikal Bridges, or we could take a peek at Jalen Brunson. In terms of mid-range, Jalen Brunson obviously leading the team, but I think, we can have Mikal Bridges probably step up and get some pull-ups as well. But Jalen Brunson's points line, obviously going to be super, super high. I don't mind that, especially if they do clasp on him. You could probably look at points plus assists. He's hit that in 2 straight games here, 36 and 44 against Boston and Miami. His points line alone is at 27.5. Does seem awfully high. He had 44 last time he saw Milwaukee, though. But the points plus assists I can get behind as well if you do believe that this Bucks team might swarm him and they kick it out for the 3. So Jalen Brunson, Gary Trent, and then I do think Giannis has a good game, but his lines are on Pluto, you know what I mean? I just realized I don't even think I gave a spread lean after that as we're editing it. I would say still the Knicks, I do believe, are a better team and have more depth. So while I think it's going to be a close game, it's only 2 points that you're getting on the Bucks side of things. I know they're at home, I get that, but it's only 2 points you're getting. I don't think that's enough to really sway me to that side. I think the Knicks are a much better team. So Knicks would be my spread lean. Warriors taking on the Clippers. Warriors, in terms of their injuries, Al Horford, I do think that, we want to wait this one out just to see, but Al Horford's listed as out right now. I imagine that's due to the back-to-back, you know what I mean, and him not playing yesterday in that win. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets ruled in. And again, just to get it through your heads out there, when teams are on a back-to-back, they actually have a lot longer. I think it's till like 2 p.m. or something like that. I forget the actual time, but a lot longer to be able to submit their injuries. So just note, I do think that even though he's listed as out, would I be surprised if he plays? No. On the other side of things, you have the Clippers with Bradley Beal out. Now, they're not on a back-to-back. They're coming off a win against Portland a couple days ago, but not on a back-to-back. So Bradley Beal is not going to be playing in this one. I believe he's going to be out for the next couple days or something, but nothing too long-term. Right now, Warriors, 2-point dogs at home. Total sitting at 224. This is a good Warriors team, especially getting Al back. I do believe it. I don't mind the idea of them winning this one. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think that they can win this one outright. So it's almost the inverse of what we just talked about with the Knicks and the Bucks. I do think that this is close, but I almost think the Warriors are able to control it. Now, why is that? I think they'll be able to shoot on this team. No Bradley Beal, like I mentioned, but Bogdanovich, Harden, Kawhi Leonard on the perimeter. Sure, Kawhi Leonard is a very good defender, but I do see, Golden State being able to score out there overall in general. From a perspective of how they're going to score, I do think it's going to come via the isolation. Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry and also Jonathan Kuminga being able to drive to the hoop, I think they get some success there. Is it crazy to think the Clippers win today? I don't think so whatsoever. This Warriors team, now after one game, I thought that their interior defense was really, really good. After their first 3 games, we have some more data. They're allowing nearly 60% in the paint and then nearly 80% to their opponents at the rim. So this Clippers team obviously likes to score and shoot in the paint, right? So that's an angle to get to the Clippers. But I think that this could be a trading 2 for 3 all game type of a thing overall, right? So I like the idea of the Warriors. Now the total's at 224. the Clippers will probably do their damn best to try and slow things down. I don't think the Warriors are going to say, hey, let's run, right? With Steph, with Jimmy, with Draymond Green, Al Horford. Like, this is a team that, especially on a back-to-back, is probably saying, hey, you know what? Let's chill a little bit. So I don't mind that under 224 whatsoever. In no rest situations, so back-to-backs last year, this Warriors team hit the under in 72.4, I think it was, or 71.4, over 70% of their games. With a rest advantage over their opponent, the Clippers only hit the over/under in 50% of their games. So I think this could get to an under, even though that's somewhat of a low number. Now, Derrick Jones Jr., over 7.5 points right now for plus money is something that I'm thinking about. I just mentioned how the Warriors at the rim are allowing, nearly 80% field goal percentage. In the paint, allowing, nearly 60% field goal percentage. That's where he's obviously going to score from a lot. Now, he's also been kind of taking some spot ups. Well, this Warriors squad from the corner hasn't looked all that great defensively either. So maybe there is an angle to get to here. What I will say, and I should have mentioned this earlier about this Warriors defense, that game against Denver that went to overtime was a big deal. Then all of a sudden they played Portland on the back-to-back. There's some context as to why some of these early season defensive numbers don't look good for Golden State, but it is still the case. Like, facts are facts, right? But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.